Time now for a little Red Zone.
How many people want to eat a W tonight?
You know what I like about the media? They think you can just dial 1-800 and get a quarterback.
Yeah,
RJ Choppy, I've said it for years, often echoed by many others. Everybody loves lists.
Everybody loves lists. Yeah, you invented that. It was you. Chris Arnold didn't invent that.
Nope. Chris is swagger jacking. Okay, that's what he's doing. No, that is, of course, the Chris Arnold saying. Everybody loves lists, and he's right. Everybody does love lists, particularly from about June 10th until July 25th or so. The 6 weeks when news starts getting tight. But right now, everybody's making their lists because what year is it, RJ Choppy?
It is 2025.
So we are getting a mess of 25 and 25 lists. And this has been, I feel like we see a new one every day for different sports. This one is the best 25 players in the history of the NFL. So they're not just limiting it to the last quarter century like a lot of people have done. This is the 25 best players in NFL history as of 2025. And I don't know about you. If we're going to look at the top three sports based, MLB, NBA, NFL, or even include college football for that matter, in the college sports, is NFL the one that you would feel would be the most difficult to work down to a top 25 list? I do.
NFL?
Yeah.
Well, it's difficult because of the offensive lineman.
To me, I look at it and go,
you just don't know enough. Like the layperson cannot break down offensive line well enough. So that's what makes it difficult.
And there's just been so many different generations of the NFL and what the purpose of the game has been.
Baseball, the numbers for baseball make it easier because it's such a number. And I know people say you can't judge players from yesterday. In baseball you can because everything is based off of how you were against your peers.
I don't generally have a problem with any of the NFL top whatever lists of all time because I look at it and say, realistically, if we're just talking about importance and everything that they do, quarterbacks would have to be like all of them, basically, like the very top of the list. But that's not the purpose of the list. So then it's like, all right, well, how do you properly gauge the impact of Lawrence Taylor versus Deion Sanders, or how do you gauge who was better at what they did? It's really hard to get an apples to apples comparison. And so because of that, I generally think these are pretty subjective. That's still the case on this one from CBS. But I got a couple of real problems with this one still. The top 25, and this is what they say is their criteria: individual success / accolades won, dominance during their era, longevity and career milestones achieved, enduring impact / legacy, team success and championships won, and ranking relative to his position. So without further ado, here is the top 25. We'll just kind of jump through them really quickly until we get to one that we want to stop on. Don Hutson, the receiver from the Packers, is number 25. Most prolific receiver in his day by far. Put up ridiculous numbers for the era. 24, Tony Gonzalez. 23, running back Gale Sayers. Again, if we're talking about longevity, Gale Sayers at 23 seems a little much. 22, Rod Woodson. Somebody who you like to take your side swipes at, Rod Woodson.
He's just, a little soft.
I think he's...
I was told by a very prominent player, NFL player, that Rod Woodson just didn't think much of him. And he was on the other side of the ball, and he went up against him one-on-one.
Yeah.
So, if you know me, you probably know who it is.
And
Kyle Yeomans.
Not Kyle Yeomans.
And he didn't wear 88.
He might have.
We
don't know.
You've said on the air before it was Irvin.
Yeah, we don't know.
Number 21 on the list, Alan Page, defensive tackle. 20, Anthony Munoz, left tackle. Here we go. First and only Cowboy on this list.
Okay, so is Anthony Munoz going to be the highest left tackle on there?
You're going to have to see here.
I would assume he is, right?
I think of him still as the greatest tackle of all time. That's how I think of him.
So he would probably have to be the highest graded O lineman too then.
Probably.
So does that mean there's no Larry Allen?
Let's see. There's only one Cowboy on the list. Would you like to guess who it is? It's here at 19.
Well,
do you think it's Larry Allen?
It better be. If it's the only Cowboy, I mean, we all agree. Is Larry Allen the best Cowboy at what he did in the history of the franchise?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to put anybody above him. Yeah, probably him. I mean, Deion was great. Not as great when he got to here as he had been throughout his career. I mean, he was still really great here. Mm-hmm. Randy White was pretty damn awesome. So I mean,
Emmitt, obviously.
he's up there. Number 19, the only Cowboy on the list, Emmitt Smith. Says small but strong running back who was the engine behind the Cowboys' 90s dynasty. From 91 to 95, Smith won 4 consecutive rushing titles, and he won Super Bowl MVPs, 3 Super Bowls total. He had league Super Bowl MVPs. Smith continued to turn out 1,000-yard seasons after the Cowboys' championship years and remains the NFL's all-time career leader with 18,355 rushing yards
Okay.
and 164 touchdowns. That record will never be touched.
It will never be touched, and if the accolades are a part of this, okay, here's what I'm going to say. I better not go through this list and find any more than 2 running backs ahead of them. And those 2 running backs can only be named Jim and Barry. Because those are the only 2 you can even make a case are ahead of Emmitt Smith.
Let's see if that's the
and
case.
The fact that Larry Allen isn't on this, who did this? I already questioned this dope.
It's CBS. Let's see how angry you're going to be at this. This is Brian Diardo. So this is not Cody Benjamin.
I will say, what? I can't. Never mind.
You know him?
No, I don't know him. I was gonna make fun of him, but I can't because I'm being silly.
I would. You got to think about it. 18,355 yards. A guy starting his career today would have to average 1,000 yards rushing for 18 freaking years and still fall short.
Okay, it's like Cy Young. Cy Young averaged 25 wins a year for 20 years in a row. Like, that's impossible.
This will never be touched. Next on the list. 18, John Elway.
You know what? I mean, I'm fine with this. That's where he belongs.
17, Randy Moss. 16, Mean Joe Green. 15, Aaron Donald.
Okay.
14, Ray Lewis. 13, Johnny Unitas. 12, second greatest nickname of all time, Dick Butkus. 11, Patrick Mahomes. Is it too early to throw him up this high, or you're fine with it right now?
I'm fine with it.
All right, let's get to the top 10.
I think that when it's all said and done, he's going to be. Probably number 2.
Dan Marino is number 10 on this list. Should Marino be ahead of Mahomes at this point?
I respect that they're not taking titles into the mix. I think there's more to it than that. I have no problem with Dan. If you want to put Dan high, Dan changed the game a lot in a large part. I think Dan's better than John. I have no problem with that. Over Mahomes, I don't know.
I think this is a pretty solid list overall because as we're getting closer and closer, I'm looking at it and I'm saying I don't. There's not as many things that I have issues with, but there's going to be one. I think number 9, Barry Sanders. I would personally probably have him a little higher. I thought Barry Sanders was incredible. 8, Reggie White. 7, Lawrence Taylor.
Okay, look, I have no problem with Reggie White and Lawrence Taylor being ahead of Ray Lewis and Aaron Donald.
There's an argument to be made that Lawrence Taylor is the greatest player of all time, though. Position aside.
Absolutely. Belichick would tell you exactly. He's like, do not. He's like, the one player I will not allow you to make comparisons about is Lawrence Taylor.
Number 6. Is this too low? Peyton Manning. Go Vols, baby.
I think it is. I think he's but.
What do you think of this comparison? They say if Brady is Jack Nicklaus, Manning is Arnold Palmer.
Arnold's more popular than Jack. Arnold had more fans.
Who was better?
Jack was better.
So is that a good comparison?
Okay, I think the better comparison is Tiger Phil. Because and this is how I compare it. Tiger always had his A game.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't matter what the tournament was. It didn't matter the moment. He always had his A game. Phil didn't always have his A. When Phil had his A game, Phil was actually better than Tiger when he had his A game. The problem is Phil didn't always have his A game. And I think that's Brady Manning. Brady always had his A game. Peyton didn't. When Peyton had his A game, Peyton was better than Tom. But he didn't always have it. That's how I compare the two. Like, who had a higher ceiling? Peyton had a higher ceiling, but he had a lower floor. And Brady always played at a 95 level. Sometimes Manning played at a 99, but sometimes he played at a 74.
Here's the top 5. And we'll see if any of these are deserving to be ahead of Peyton Manning. Number 5, Joe Montana. Kind of the original Brady.
He's the original Brady. I don't have a problem with it.
Brady became more prolific than Montana.
I disagree. I don't think anybody would draft Joe over Peyton if they were going to start their team.
I'm going to skip 4.
You going to skip number 4?
3, running back Jim Brown. I'm assuming you have no problem with that, especially the impact he had on your family. Your dad was a big Jim Brown guy.
I have no problem with it. I'm just trying to figure out who the two people ahead of him could be.
2, Jerry Rice. Hard to argue. It's hard to argue.
It's not hard to argue at all. I mean, Jim's better.
1, Tom Brady. Tom Brady is the greatest player of all time.
I can't argue. I'm not going to argue it. I won't argue that.
Number 4. I'm going to circle back because I did not want this to distract from the rest of the list. Number 4 on the list, and there are some people on the fan text who I know will scream and fight us on this and say that it's deserving. I do not agree. Number 4 is Walter Payton.
Walter Payton?
Walter Payton is number 4 on the all-time.
Okay, so he can't be ahead of Montana and Peyton.
I don't think he can be ahead of Emmitt.
He can't be ahead of Montana and Peyton Manning. He just can't do it.
I don't think he can be ahead of Emmitt. And I know a lot of people...
No, I agree. He can't be ahead of Emmitt.
People have put Walter up there for years, and I understand it. Man, we've gotten through enough time now that I don't know how you can comfortably say that. Now, there's some people missing off this list that we didn't even name. Ronnie Lott's not on this list. I'm just looking over the top 100 list from the NFL about 15 years ago. Ronnie Lott's not on the list. Deacon Jones isn't on the list. There's no Deion Sanders.
Yeah, that's a problem. How many times did Walter Payton lead the NFL in rushing?
Are you looking at it?
I'm looking at it. I'm just asking you.
Twice.
Once. How many times did he lead the league in touchdowns?
Twice.
Once. How many times did he lead the league in rushing yards per game?
Once.
Once. He had 3 years where he averaged 100 yards or more rushing per game.
He would look. He was great.
Okay, he was really, really awesome.
But there are levels to it. He was great.
He is not better than Emmitt Smith. He is not better than Barry Sanders. He is not better than Jim Brown.
He's behind Jim Brown, to be fair. But
yeah, he is not deserving of being ahead of Joe Montana or Peyton Manning or Lawrence Taylor or Reggie White.
There's no Bruce Smith on this list.
Yep.
I mean, it's just that's. Look, I think that, again, it's really hard to nitpick too much with these sort of lists because it's really difficult to compare apples to apples and things like that. But you got to get the positions right. So I understand if you've got the best running back up there near the best linebacker.
Sure, whatever. Yeah.
All right, fine. Can't sort it out. But you got to get the stack right. Sanders is better. Barry Sanders was better. Emmitt Smith was better. That's just the way that it is to me. That's how I look at it. I agree. And so that's the one that I'm really going to nitpick here on that list. I mean,
he was the best running back in the NFL one time in his life.
I mean, for the course of his career, he was the best running back going. But it's like...
In terms of having the best year. He had the best year one time.
He's like a souped-up Marcus Allen.
No, he's better than Marcus.
I know. That's why I said he's
better than OJ.
I know. I'm just... Well, I mean, he's definitely better than OJ.
Yeah, I mean, he's an all-time great. There's no doubt about it. But, yeah, nobody would put him higher. That's dumb. That's dumb. But the rest of it, I'm not going to fight on the rest of it.
No,
it's a subjective list. I'll just fight on that one.
I don't have any issue with it either.